Changes to criminal record searching in California is leading to massive problems. Welcome to Background Screening Tips and Tech. I'm your host, Tim Santoni. I've been a licensed private investigator for over 20 years. I run a private investigation and background screening company based here in Southern California. Let's get started. To understand the changes and how they impact our ability to search for criminal records within the state of California, you need to first understand the record system. In California, criminal records are housed and searched at the county court in which they are filed. Despite what many people have been led to believe, a statewide search of all criminal cases does not exist. If you wanted to conduct a comprehensive search in California, you would need to check all 58 county courthouses individually. The court access fees alone to do this would exceed $200, and the process would probably take about 3 weeks. A criminal case search is conducted by using the name, first and last, and date of birth of the subject. In many counties, the courts allowed you to search for criminal records by name and driver's license number as well, because traffic-related cases are filed in the criminal courthouse. Throughout the state, each court has had different processes on how to search for current and archived cases. Many courts offer up their criminal records for free via their website, while other courts require you to create an account and use search credits in order to search and download case files. In some smaller counties that don't have budgets for sophisticated online websites, a researcher or investigator must visit the courthouse and conduct a search via the search terminals or request searches directly with the clerk. Until recently, all searches in all courthouses allowed for search by name and full date of birth or name and driver's license number. This meant that if you got a hit on a search, you were certain that the case found pertained to your subject. So what has changed and what is the impact? The Hamrick case, which was argued in Riverside County and was held on appeal with the Supreme Court of California, changed this whole process. The appellate court decision came down in 2021 and the courts have taken time to adjust their processes. The true impact of the Hamrick case has really started to impact investigators, background screeners, and employers in the last 6 to 8 months. So you're probably asking, how would a court case like Hamrick impact how we search for criminal records? They're public records, aren't they? Well, let me explain. The Hamrick case forced all courts within the state of California to remove full dates of birth and driver's license numbers from their online and physical search systems. So, in essence, the way in which criminal cases were searched and verified was changed. I want to share how these changes are impacting the criminal case research process. The delays in getting complete and verified searches is probably the biggest issue. Because many courts don't have the systems or the resources to make the changes to their websites, researchers must go to the courthouse and initiate search requests. This would be an acceptable solution, but the courts are limiting the number of requests that can be submitted each day. So the backlog builds up. I want to share some details on what is happening in a few counties so you can get the whole picture. Let's start in Sacramento County. The court has a public access terminal, but the public access terminal has very little information available on it. It's almost useless. In most cases, you end up having to give a list of names to the clerk, and they will provide you with a list of cases that are a name match. The files then must be pulled to verify the dates of birth. The turnaround for the clerk to run a list of names varies, but it is generally around 3 weeks. In the past, the clerks would only provide cases that were a name and date of birth match, which made the process pretty easy. Once the dates of birth were redacted, the clerks provided only names matching, leaving researchers to dig through large volumes of cases to look for the dates of birth. Now, let's look at Riverside County. This county just recently removed the full dates of birth from their search systems, so you must pull files here as well, but everything can be done from one location, which is a plus. The biggest issue in Riverside right now is that they just moved to a new case file system and it is very unstable. It crashes a lot, which brings everything to a screeching halt and makes turnaround times wildly unpredictable. Los Angeles County. The process in Los Angeles is very regulated and very difficult. You can search the name on the public access terminal, but then you have to order the files pulled for any possible cases that are a name match. The file pulls have to be done at the courthouse where the case was heard. There are 22 courthouses in Los Angeles County. There used to be 23, but the East LA courthouse closed and sent all their files downtown. The downtown courthouse is the busiest by far, making a bad situation worse. Many of the courthouses try to limit you to 5 pulls per day, not 5 names. The time to get the files varies greatly by courthouse and by day. The changes to the process in Los Angeles created so many problems and challenges that I have heard rumblings that some large background screening companies will stop searching Los Angeles County altogether. On top of the extended turnaround times, there are also increased costs associated with the searching and verification of records because many courts have added or raised access fees, which increase the overall cost of a background check. The way in which criminal records are now searched and accessed also impacts commercial database providers that offer up records to private investigators, law firms, and insurance companies. The top providers of commercial data that many have access to are Lexis, TLO, Accurate, Westlaw, and others. These folks can no longer get access to criminal records due to the court's firewall and paywalls that have been set up. And even if these data providers could get access to in a comprehensive search pertain to your subject. I have personally seen the delays caused by the court changes really impact employers looking to onboard workers that interact with the sensitive population like the elderly and children that have no criminal background but are forced to wait months in some cases for background checks to complete to get a clearance to begin work. Some employers are now thinking twice about conducting comprehensive background checks on their entire workforce over concerns about turnaround time and cost. The whole goal of conducting background checks is to mitigate risk for employers and to meet the necessary compliance guidelines as outlined by their clients and their insurance providers. Investigators, law firms, and insurance companies should have access to accurate criminal records as it impacts decisions around litigation and insurance claims. The solution I have is simple and it's not original. It's something that other states are currently looking at. Let me explain. If the concern raised in Hamrick is that personally identifying information, specifically full dates of birth and driver's license numbers, can cause privacy concerns and lead to identity theft, then here's what I propose. Create a system in which those that should have full access to dates of birth and driver's license numbers for the purposes of criminal case research can be certified with the state and agree to use the information only for authorized purposes, namely background checks and investigations. This process would create a layer of protection and protect the sensitive information that has led to privacy-related concerns. Please do share this video with your friends and colleagues, as it will take all of us to fight this and restore access to a search system that will be accurate, cost-effective, and timely. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know.